Thank you for joining us on another beautiful night in the mystical land of Hyrule. This is The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 main tournament on Speed Gaming, game number 2, which we'll update in a second, between Goomba and iamtheschwarz. Hi everyone, I'm Cyclone, joined by Hammer. How are you doing tonight, Hammer?
I'm doing great, man. We got another randomizer race. I get to calm. I'm getting my rando fix. There are 3 books in this hash, so I guess we're having like a library seed. I don't even know. We'll see, man. I'm ready to have a blast, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, and yeah, I think I agree with you on the whole idea of the book leading to something. I mean, there's 3 books in the that means there's got to be something in the library. There's got to be something on Bombo's tablet. There's got to be something on Ether tablet. So clearly those are going to come into play today. That's what this hash is trying to tell us, right?
I would think so. I would imagine this can be a fairly busy seed, and the hash is letting us know because our 2 runners are going to get, booked.
Exactly. And a quick, actually, I'll talk about this in a moment because we're just getting started right now. $300 in the first chest in Link's house. This is the second game. The first game was last night. They played, obviously, the regular settings. And I remember last night, as we get a map check, I saw a red crystal at Desert Palace and a regular one at Tower of Hera. What happened last night is they both last locationed the fire rod in Swamp Palace after leaving the item on the left side. So I will be very interested tonight whether the strategy in Swamp Palace changes tonight, whether they delay going in, whether they actually do a full clear on the first trip, even if it's an early trip. I'll be very interested to see how that strategy works out tonight.
That's a good point. As you can see, chat especially, there is one particular change that's been made for this seed in general. We have an assured sword, so we won't have to go running around Hyrule with no sword, trying to dodge everything and pretend like we're ninjas.
And this means that the castle that we're going to be next to right now, they're probably going to clear this right away. With that assured sword, they're guaranteed able to clear the castle. So no reason to leave this area unexplored, get it out of the way, and then go split up and do other things. Now, it's worth knowing there are still going to be 4 swords in the item pool. The 4th one just will cease to exist after the other 3 are collected.
Yeah, that one will turn into a green 20 rupee, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. So both runners predictably making the trip into the castle. It's almost like we're playing standard mode.
Well, I mean, when you get that sword really early on, and even, especially if it's an open mode, you can kind of get burned by figuring out when or when not to route an escape, so you have the means to clear it, might as well.
I just noticed that the 2 keys had different palettes there. That is very interesting. So we already found 2 differently colored keys inside this dungeon, and we're on the way back to the next item on the first floor right now.
Yeah, dropped keys and chest keys are always a slightly different color, but you very rarely come across seeing that.
Yeah, maybe that's just why I'm not familiar with it. I don't see that very often. So anyway, we are going to kill this blue guard in here, or purple, whatever you want to call them. There's our map. Not really useful.
Yes, it is. It lets us know the dungeon layout. We absolutely need that. We haven't gone through this 100 times.
I don't know if they ever consult that, though, do they?
That's a good point. I don't think they ever do.
No.
That is definitely something they're going to need to work on.
And Goomba, I wonder if he's trying to set up a death warp here. He did take 1 hit from the mace before killing the guard. Nope, he's just going to save and quit. And we got a red nanner in the chest there. Schwarz is going to take the death warp. I think he's going to try and explore the Dark Cross area.
I am slightly amused by Schwarz's character here, as I'm fairly certain we have a Chrono Trigger reference.
I think it's supposed to be a frog, yes. I remember seeing that last night in the race last night, that he was playing a frog character.
Hi-ho, Schwarz the Frog here.
No comment. Goomba checking the island item right now. That is a piece of heart, so that won't be mirrored for today. Oh, that was an interesting fake flipper.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could do the sprite or splash deletion with the red boomerang. That's really interesting, and perhaps the first time I've seen that.
I just learned this last night, actually, so it's the first time I've actually seen it in play myself. Didn't know how it was done. That's the first time I've seen it. Very, very unique, and it certainly gives a answer to the debate on which is the better boomerang.
Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a minute. The boomerang is still superior.
But can you fake flipper with it?
Yeah, you just need a bow and a couple bombs, and you'll be fine. Anyways, we have vastly differing routes here, with Goomba doing a couple of fake flipper checks, and then looks like heading towards Sahasrara's hut and Eastern here. Meanwhile, iamtheschwarz completing escape instead. So, yeah, we are very much missing Kakariko at this point, almost 5 minutes in.
I didn't see the item in the dark either. I wasn't looking when it showed up, or we just didn't see it. I think he's trying to make his way all the way to the back, I'm guessing.
It would make sense. Once you make it to Dark Cross, you're pretty much all the way there. You just need to murder the key rat.
And what are in these chests? I'm going to call out whatever we see interesting. There's a bottle on the back, on the closet. I think I saw blue mail. Did I see that correctly? Because I was glancing back and forth.
Yep. Bottle and blue mail, and pretty much nothing on Schwarz's side, so.
Correct. So the escape proved to be as fruitful as it usually is.
That's not fair. There have been some useful items there. Not frequently, but there have been some there on occasion. Anyways, PRNG aside, we are headed straight into the Lost Woods for both our runners, so we're not going to get Lumberjack Ledge checks just yet. You guys are just going to have to wait in suspense for that one.
And we are going to go into the drop down right now. We do find there's the power glove. And then the what? Oh, that's a vanilla mushroom.
Well, nice to know that someone just left that mushroom there. I guess that was out of Ganon's sphere of randomizer influence. And the fetch quests start early. Meanwhile, we are going to be headed into Kakariko just in a moment here. So, Cyclone, what do you think we're going to get this go around?
We're going to get about 11 random items.
That was a cop-out.
Well, it's true, isn't it?
It's closer to like 14, I think.
Well, if you count the area south of the actual village, yes. Anyway, we can't get Magic Bat yet, so that's not in play as of yet. But we do have the bottle available, so we do have Sick Kid for Goomba. Schwarz did not pick up that bottle because he didn't make the trip to Sahasrara's closet yet, so he will have to forego Sick Kid. This could be one of those pivotal things right here, right away, very early.
That's definitely potential. Meanwhile, nothing so far in Blind's hut. Not too terrible with the 2 full heart containers. Not something we're going to sneeze at early on in the game like this. Meanwhile, Goomba doing a fake flipper. And looks like we are headed... Alright, so we're going to kind of get a backwards check from Goomba.
Either he's skipping Kakariko or he's planning to go backwards. And who knows, he might be trying to work in a ped check with us for all we know. I don't know, but he's already been in the Lost Woods, so I highly doubt it. But that is a possibility. He could be looking for the book to see what's on the pedestal.
You know, this is a really, really interesting set of routing, because from this point forward, Goomba could easily go to Mini Moldorm Cave and then do the dam from there, and it wouldn't...
Exactly.
Oh, never mind. We could just save and quit. Hookshot, that's nice. Hookshot on Schwarz's side, so we did get something.
So the Kakariko play will be necessary today. I mean, it usually is. What's the bottle vendor have? That is the other item that looks like a hook shot. It's the Arrow of Destiny, the single arrow. It is a unique item.
It is, which can really, really wreck you if you're going off of hints.
Especially if it's a unique item in Turtle Rock and it's on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that would definitely do it. Meanwhile, Goomba's still avoiding Kakariko to the best of their ability.
He will eventually have to go there.
All roads lead to Kak.
There's our lamp.
Hey! All right, so that means we won't be chasing down a fire source. We might still need that fire rod. We might have to chase that down, but we will have a fire source of some sort.
Now, there are probably some thoughts in chat about Aghanim right now, and let's look at this from the logic perspective. This sword was handed to them out of the gate, so the logic, I believe, will not account for this sword in the Aghanim logic. I think you have to be able to find 2 more swords or another sword and a cape before the seed will be telling you to go to Aghanim. So I believe that is still in play here.
Interesting. With that being said, there's still a decent amount that we have not checked. Eastern being part of that. The glove and the lamp actually put Death Mountain into logic. Now, not much of it, but it's a start. And given that Kakariko gave us the hook shot, that puts quite a bit more of it into logic.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of Death Mountain that you'd be able to access once we can actually get there, which, you know what? Schwarz can get there.
Also has the potential to be able to check this dam in one go-round, which is always a nice little time save.
Very nice.
But electing not to. Yep. I think that was a realize they had the hook shot just a moment too late there. Meanwhile, we are going to get an early mushroom check-in.
You might often see this checked as you're on the way to something like Catfish, but Goomba is, as you said, trying to avoid Kakariko. It'll work out this time.
Meanwhile, we have our flute sitting on the dam, so if Goomba decides to check the dam before going to Kakariko, that will make it a bit easier. Alright, meanwhile, we have Mini Moldorm came. Schwarz is going to have a slightly easier time if they elect to use the hook shot there, but just going with the bomb route.
I wonder why they call this Mini Moldorm Cave. Any ideas?
I'm assuming it's because Ganon used some sort of shrinking potion on them, so they're not full size, but that's just an assumption on my part.
That makes sense. We found a sword, by the way. So Aghanim is starting to slowly come into focus here as a possibility if we can't find enough logical progression, i.e. a bow for Eastern Palace, a book for Desert, things like that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think we're currently still sitting on at least 15 checks, though, before we really have to worry about that. So
and that's mostly on Death Mountain, absolutely.
Exactly. Between the, at minimum, 2 items in Eastern, the 1 item check over at Aghanim, as much as we probably don't want to do that, and the slew of items that are sitting over on the mountain. I think so far we're still okay. We also do have a bunch of flipper checks that haven't been done yet, so.
Schwarz, meanwhile, is playing some music. We'll get to hear that later on Goomba's side, most certainly. Goomba is doing the dam right now, and Schwarz is unstucking the duck.
Yep. Grab your fishing gear. It is time to release the Quacken. Meanwhile, the Schwarz actually made 2 Kakariko trips, and Goomba has yet to make one. So, but between the fact they're going to grab the flute right here and already having a bottle, they're going to pretty much be able to clear everything Kakariko in one shot. So this kind of worked out.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation where the items needed for Kakariko just happen to be around somewhere around outside Kakariko, and it's just convenient in that sense. So Goomba's going to have a very productive Kakariko. Meanwhile, Schwarz is taking the old man home on the mountain. And what is the old man's tip going to be? Just avoid the dead rocks, hit that one, get it to stand still, and look at that, we got a tip.
Yep, meanwhile, some of chat asking what was sitting on the library. It was a trio of bombs, if I saw correctly.
I saw blue, but it was too fast. I couldn't tell you.
We should get another check of it right here in a moment, so
yep,
that won't be too bad.
Goomba will probably not play the race game for the 20 rupees that's sitting here.
No, even though it's mildly tempting, sitting at 439 rupees and having the flippers and the power glove, I'm fairly certain Goomba's just going to be betting on getting 61 rupees from Kakariko itself.
Library was bombs. I didn't see it that time.
Meanwhile, Paradox
Ooh.
Cave just a little more money so far.
Usually the alternative hype cave because there are 7 items in here, but we're not finding a lot today so far. Let's see if we have better luck on the group of 5 here. There's the lamp for Goomba. And item number 3 is bombs. Item number 4 is money. Item number 5, there's a mirror. That's a good item. What else is in these last 2 chests? We have half magic. That's decent. And a piece of heart.
And Sick Kid giving us the mitts, so this could get interesting fast.
Yes, this could.
Alright, so that mirror is really nice because it does give us access to Hera. So I Am the Shores would be able to go in there and full clear Hera should they so choose to.
Here's the unfortunate part. He's going to have to make his way all the way around the mountain. He can't go through the hammer area.
I imagine at that point you just flute to 1 again.
Yeah, probably. And Goomba also now has access to Swag Duck Airlines. Please call for all your transportation needs to one of 8 predefined locations in Hyrule. Dark World transportation not included.
Yeah, not until you take out Agatu that one time. But I guess that's spoiler, so I probably shouldn't mention that.
How dare you spoil this?
I know, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Schwartz is only getting a quarter heart for what seemed like an hour-and-a-half long walk through Spiral Cave. Not fun without boots.
Are we there yet? No.
Hold on, I've only got 3 more right-hand turns to make.
There's the hook shot for Goomba.
And honestly, this seed being pretty friendly with full hearts so far. Schwartz already sitting at 8. That's pretty massive for 16 minutes in.
That is pretty good health. I have seen lower health seeds even later than this, so definitely a good amount of health. Goomba only sitting on 5, so he hasn't found all the good hearts yet. Probably going to find one here if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe so.
I missed what was on the in Spectral Rock there. There's that heart I was talking about. Piece of heart on Spectral Rock. And 20 rupees was inside Spectral Rock. And we're getting a Dark World map check. I see a red crystal on Ice Palace. I see pendants on Misery Mire and Swamp Palace.
Yeah, so everything interesting happening on the south portion of the Dark World today.
And I didn't see the green pendant there, so I think that means the Eastern Palace was our green pendant, which just got updated on the tracker.
Yep, vanilla green pendant. Wonder if the bow's in there.
Oh, it probably is. Schwartz find the big key in the basement. Of course, we do have to pick that up, so that is necessary. Will he do the pot clip to get to the top of the dungeon, though? That's the next question. We are finding the cane, so basement is off limits right now. He is not doing the pot clip. He's going upstairs. The cane he found, by the way, was the cane of burn, since there are 2 canes.
Yeah, the pot clip's still fairly new, so I'm not surprised to see a decent amount of runners elect to skip it for now.
Still neat to see it, even though it is new. A lot of runners seem to have it, and it is kind of neat to see it.
It is. It's amazing to me that a game that's sitting on darn near 3 decades of age, we're still finding little small ways to slightly ruin it.
And in many cases found by people who weren't alive at the time the game even came out. They're just secrets themselves after first playing it.
Meanwhile, Goomba here grabbing his tip from the old man. Gonna take a nice long walk up the mountain. And the Schwartz doing a bomb jump. And that is really not an easy bomb jump. 2 pixels, if I remember correctly. You don't have a whole lot of wiggle room.
Schwartz made an effort to stop and pick up that bomb, which apparently was necessary to get him to 10, so he now has full bombs again.
And 10 arrows inside Spec Rock, since I believe we both missed it last time.
Oh, it's 10 arrows in Spec Rock. Someone said different item. And we're now facing everyone's favorite pet worm, Moldorm, on Schwarz's side of the screen. Moldorm likes to play. I mean, he pushes you around, and it doesn't hurt you when he pushes you, but it really is annoying because he can push you off the platform, and then you have to come play with him again. We just take him out, we get a key, and Schwartz has a coffee break to consider.
Yeah, not really a fun consideration, but I would be kind of surprised to see him leave it.
I have seen a number of runners actually leave that behind. Now, he does have the fire source, so it wouldn't make sense for him to do that, in my opinion, unless he saw both items and we're not paying attention, which could very well be the case because he is leaving.
Either way, looks like we're going to get an Ice Rod Cave check here. Meanwhile, Goomba grabbing their mirror and a couple other small trinkets in here.
Schwartz, by the way, still has not been to Hasrat's closet, has not found a bottle anywhere else yet. So Sick Kid's Titan Mitts are kind of still not on the radar for him.
Yeah, this beginning routing has been very interesting for both of our runners, and I'm honestly having a bit of difficulty keeping up with what each has checked and what each has not checked, because it has been so scattered.
Well, what we do know is that both have checked Kakariko.
Yes, at about 20 minutes in, yes, both eventually did go to Kakariko.
Yeah, and Goomba now doing his 5-hour walk down this hallway.
iamtheschwarz going ahead and dropping off that mushroom, so I don't think we're going to get fake powder from either of our runners, especially not with those flippers in there.
Especially not when the flippers are there. That could lead to the hammer for all we know. And that would give us access to the magic pad, obviously.
It would. You know, with the items that we currently have, we have unlocked some interesting potential locations for the Moon Pearl.
And I was just thinking about that Moon Pearl as well. We haven't seen it yet. Like, look at this. We don't get to see this very often. Goomba is on Dark Death Mountain as a bunny. We don't see that very often. He is, I believe, going to go for Super Bunny Cave here.
Yep, and for all of you who have asked at some point or another why they call it Super Bunny Cave, you're going to find out in just a moment.
Find out, yeah. Get ready to see Super Bunny in action. We're going to push blocks out of the way using the mirror. We're going to go upstairs. We're going to fall down the hole and... Super Bunny!
Not all heroes wear capes.
And just like that, he gets Powder and Quake that he is not supposed to have yet. But he got them.
So, if Turtle Rock Medallion logic continues how it normally does, I wouldn't be surprised to see a vanilla Quake requirement sitting here on Turtle Rock.
Goomba is going immediately to check Turtle Rock. He wants to know if that Quake Medallion is on the doorstep. And it is on the doorstep!
I mean, it's not even really calling it at this point. It feels like the odds are in your favor.
And now he's going to mirror from here to the Light World, and this will get him access to Tower of Hera without having to walk all the way around. Very nicely done. It also gets away from the Lionel Beam at the same time.
And that's the advantage of him having those mitts. Speaking of which, Pearl on the ledge.
Well then!
Alright, so that's going to be official Dark World access for Goomba once he gets over there, and iamtheschwarz once he actually gets the bottle and heads to Sick Kid. But Aghanim is not dead yet in either case. We still need that hammer.
Yep, Aghanim is very much alive. I mean, we haven't gone to the top of the castle to kill him yet anyway. Goomba is going to hammer clip, or I should say pot clip to the top of Palace of Darkness. That is happening right now. So this is considered legal for the tournament because this pot you can fall into from the upper floor normally. Of course, getting his Moon Pearl. So once he gets in the pot, he goes to this room. This room is normally accessed from that pot. Perfectly valid. Get a fairy if you want to. He's not going to. See that hole directly north of him at the very top? That is the hole that leads to the pot. So that's why you end up on this floor.
Meanwhile, also, Zora giving us the bow. So, Big Fishy not being a big ripoff fishy this go around.
Something that you could actually see being worth 500 rupees.
And that is a rare occurrence, let me tell you.
I mean, hey, in Link's Awakening, it's 980, so that's actually a good deal.
Alright, meanwhile, we have Moldorm take 2. Schwarz managed it without too much difficulty. Hopefully our resident worm will not be a resident troll.
Schwarz getting the bottle and the blue mail. So now let's see how quickly he goes back to Kakariko to check Sick Kid. He has the flute, so it's a quick stop.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen quite yet, given that he also has the bow.
And he's going to go do Eastern Palace first. Goomba, meanwhile, does finish Tower of Harry. He is now also at 1 crystal, as Schwarz is. Schwarz already did that earlier, about 5 minutes ago or so. And Schwarz, in this sense, is kind of ahead in terms of crystal progression right now, going into his second crystal dungeon. But Goomba is going to check an item that Schwarz did not check in the coffee break room.
Yep, so we got new information on both sides. We're going to see Eastern on one end and coffee break on the other. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your hot chocolate, or whatever else you may be consuming. We're going to have about a 40-second rest and relaxation period here.
And that reminds you, this coffee break room is brought to you by Death Mountain Coffee. It'll kill you.
Death Mountain Coffee, good to the last cabbage.
Sort of.
You know, the one cool thing about Randomizer is that it allows the tiles to take on a different shape. And I always thought that was kind of cool.
Yep, I have seen some interesting shapes there. And Schwarz did not miss anything here, thankfully.
Nope, but whether or not he missed anything doesn't really matter all that much. It's still going to be a location in the back of his head if this seed turns into a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, both runners will probably have those locations that they double check later if they end up having to hunt for something. But you never know. Sometimes the seeds are friendlier than that.
Yeah, sometimes. It does look like we might very well get a checkerboard check here for the Moon Pearl, which is not going to work out in Goomba's favor, at least in terms of Moon Pearl. We may have something else good there, and we should also get a medallion check.
He could very well find a sword for all we know. I missed the medallion, though. Did you see it?
Yep, Bombos.
Okay, so we will need another coin for this dungeon. But it's a pendant, so we may not care. Maybe being against Tower for all we know.
Also looks like Goomba is going to go ahead and try and set up, yep, Super Bunny again. So we're going to get to see these couple items.
Super Bunny!
Alrighty, and we are going to get a second crystal clear here from Goomba. Not a bad idea. Desert is, well, hopefully clearable. We'll see about those boots, that boots lock location.
So we did locate a hammer in Eastern Palace, by the way, that neither of us called out.
Yeah, completely didn't see it. I was too busy watching the bunny. Meanwhile, Desert is boots locked. Big key up on the torch, so we are going to need those boots eventually.
Question chat, where was the Moon Pearl? Moon Pearl was on the Zora ledge.
Yeah, and Zora gave us the bow, so Zora's domain just kind of being remarkably helpful for once.
Yeah, that never happens. I mean, tell me the last seed you saw where Zora's domain was that helpful.
I don't know, we'll have to hold out. Catfish might have something too. That would be amazing.
It would be possible. And checkerboard, unfortunately, does also have something, but it's not something useful. Schwarz not quick enough on the red Igor, is going to have to use another cycle on that second one. But going to enter the Armos Knights fight. No silver arrows, so we have to put 3 arrows in each Armos Knight. He's probably going to go for the Armos Knight quick kill here by putting 2 into one of the knights. He just did it on that lower one. And he's going to try to kill the last two about a couple frames apart, which he did successfully. If he did not do that, the one would have turned red, and it would have regained all of its health and required a couple more arrows. 10 bomb pack found at Agina's location. That is the one you can get in standard mode when you're playing, looking for a weapon from Uncle. He can give you those.
Meanwhile, Schwarz has the green pendant, so I think we're just going to have a quick walk over to Sahasrara and see what he'll give us in return for our green bauble.
Okay, old man, I got you that pendant you wanted. You owe me something. What do you have? Yeah, I have some money.
What is it with old men and red rupees?
I don't know.
I mean, given, Agana did have not red rupees, but not much better.
And Waterfall Cave produces money.
Which honestly was a really good find at this point, because Goomba was sitting on 494 rupees.
That means that he now has the fundage required to pick up a device that shoots wooden sticks. He will now find out that his Moon Pearl is here, and he will be elated that he finally got over here. Half an hour for a Moon Pearl, though. That can't feel good.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't feel great, but on the flip side, we've gotten a whole bunch more stuff, so it's not like it was a half hour where we were funneled into single item checks for that entirety.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as bad as it very well could have.
Goomba stares for a second and is like, yeah, I need that.
Meanwhile, with everything needed to complete Pod, iamtheschwarz heading in here and gonna go ahead and do that. We could actually have silvers in here. It would be possible to leave to have both of our basic dungeon items that we would normally get from these dungeons just kind of flipped.
And Goomba heads up to Death Mountain, gonna get his health refill from the old man. And I'm, of course, going to the Bowlock side of Palace of Darkness. I already found a key in the first chest, it looks like.
Alright, so it seems like we have two different schools of thought here for which part of Dark World we want to go into first. Goomba heading straight into Village of Outcasts.
Well, we have access to a good chunk of it. If we want to, we could theoretically go to Swamp Palace as well, but since that's a pendant, I can see them not wanting to go there, because that's a place you also try to avoid at all costs until you can go mode it. And if you can go mode it, we're not going to be there.
That's a fair point, but then you also have to consider with Goomba not having the hammer, that could potentially be a problem with Thieves Town.
We found the red cane, the cane of Samaria in Palace of Darkness.
Definitely a good pickup. Pod having at least something useful.
And there is a heart container in the C-shaped house. That is also somewhat useful.
Yeah, we still need those. At some point, we'll start thumbing our noses at them, but not quite yet.
Not yet.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Goomba elected to not worry about the adjacent checks before coming in here. Still could have done Bombable Hut, and honestly would have been able to pull off at least part of the Smith chain rather quickly, which would make a double dip not required. Obviously not going to find that hammer anywhere around here, but I think I'm kind of surprised he didn't really give it much of a go.
So we are getting our check of Thieves Town now. Meanwhile, I'm the shorts back to the beginning of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, Pod being way easier with a mirror. Not having a mirror makes routing this not fun.
It's something I came to discover last night. Thieves Town is not a dungeon that's really affected by go mode. Goomba deciding he is going to go back to the beginning and he will come back later. I can see that being a good play. Thieves Town is a crystal. He has to do it later anyway. And maybe he's just not happy with his weaponry for the blind fight. But I find that kind of interesting.
I think it's less that as he picks up the superior boomerang. And I think it's more of a really not wanting to lock an item in the back.
That makes sense because he does not have the hammer yet from Eastern Palace.
Yeah, and at this rate, it's going to be a little while before he runs into it. We also are going to get an arrow game. So, let's have fun.
And you were talking about it might be a while before he runs into that hammer. I could see him possibly wanting to put Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace together. And if he does that, he may go looking in Palace of Darkness before Eastern Palace, which would be awful because he would do all of Palace of Darkness and then find the hammer in Eastern Palace.
I mean, that wouldn't honestly be terrible because generally routing for pod goes, hey, do all of pod, and then mirror route or death warp, and then go kill Helmasaur. So it would just be him going, do all of pod, okay, now do Eastern. Oh, okay, well now mirror back and go do Helmasaur. So it would use a mirror transition or two, but not much more than that.
Meanwhile, we have digging game. We're counting up to 20 digs now, 21. So it's up to 30 digs that we can have here. So this is taking a while. That was 28 digs for a piece of heart. He will pick it up. And didn't get out before the time's up message.
Yeah, unfortunately, with 28 digs and not having the boots, that box is going to be really, really hard to beat.
And hey, we're going to pick up Jeremiah the Bullfrog and take him home, it looks like. So he's not going to get much of a tour today, but we are going to get a... we're not even going to get to see the hammer pegs. He's just going to go straight home, it looks like.
Yep, wouldn't surprise me to see a check of the Batcave while we're here, though, which will be one less item to worry about.
And he might take the Norfit. Nope, he's not going to.
Meanwhile, iamtheschwarz making really good use of that Cane of Samaria, not having to push the statue in, just instead tossing a block down and moving right along.
This one does need the bow, though. Goomba getting a piece of heart from the dwarves, by the way. He's up to 10 full hearts now.
Yeah, this seed being really, really friendly health-wise.
And here's the mad batter check you were talking about. So in the vanilla game, he gives you half magic. And the whole idea is he curses you, trying to take away your ability to use magic. So today's curse, we're going to be cursed with the a loss of life.
It was half-hearted at best. Wait,
Indeed.
Hold on.
And hammer hitboxes getting on iamtheschwarz here.
Yeah, seriously, I was gonna say those turtles acting more like our flippers here, going just back and forth. Hammer hitbox is not fun.
So Gary was having kebabs for lunch today, it looks like. We just got all of his sticks. I hope he cleaned those sticks.
I mean, if not, then the arrows just will have a small chance of poisoning, I suppose.
I guess.
Helmasaur not being terribly cooperative there for the last couple hammer hits, so Schwarz just taking him out with the sword. And it looks like we are going to get a clear of the back of Thieves Town now, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was very quick that he came back here. And yeah, it seems like Helmasaur King doesn't like having his mask taken off. It really gets him a little angry. So Goomba now going to head into the back of Thieves Town and grab the key.
Yep, meanwhile, iamtheschwarz doing the full long walk out of the pod area.
He must be planning to go to Catfish. I can't see why he'd be walking out here otherwise.
Yeah, I would presume this would be a pyramid ledge check followed by a
Yeah.
catfish check. Hook shot over.
Precisely.
I'll tell you what, though, we're sitting at almost 40 minutes in and still no boots, which we do eventually need. So we will get those, well, it seems like later rather than sooner at this point.
Are you saying they're being slow?
Hey, I'm just saying when one person's walking through the back of Thieves Town and the other person's trying to walk through Pod, there's not really too much to talk about, as we see another full heart container, which Schwarz decides, not really required.
Yep, he's gotten to the point that he's thumbing his nose at heart containers, so that tells you he's comfortable where he is.
Yeah, 8 hearts, blue mail, can't blame him. Meanwhile, we will get to see if Zora's domain, at least on the other end of our temporal shift, will have something else useful for us. Although, honestly, even if it doesn't, the bow and the moon pearl about the best you could hope for.
There was a suggestion that Schwarz might cross the river after the period, but he is going over to Catfish. What do you think Catfish will have today?
I'm torn between the potential of having a super useful Zora's domain. I didn't know that you could hookshot onto those gates. Learn something new every day.
If that's
and the potential of Catfish being useless. So I'm going to go ahead and say Bombos. How about you?
I was going to say, if we're going to assume it's useful, let's say Fire Rod. They last location last night. Let's be a little nicer tonight. Or 50 rupees, that'll buy a Fire Rod.
Wait, where can we buy a fire rod from for 50 rupees? I definitely need to hit up that shop.
It's not in Hyrule. Anyway, the blind pad of the day. Archers give gifts tied with a bow.
Time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. Meanwhile, we are getting that hook shot over. Just wanted to go ahead and check Catfish. And, given our seed hash, the book is kind of suspicious.
It is to me.
Here.
It is being very suspicious to me right now. It could have been a hint for the pedestal as well, for all we know.
Oh, man. Pedestal pulls. When your hash books come in threes.
It's not very often you get a 3 of a kind in the hash. I've rolled a full house once. I think that one had mirrors in it.
Interesting. Did that seed end up making you very reflective?
No, I think the mirror was in Link's chest.
Wow. Okay. Early mirror.
Anyway, Goomba again, check K45. We are getting the graveyard. Actually, we had the graveyard ledge check for Schwarz. Yeah, and Goomba not happy with whatever was in the K45.
Yeah, just a big 20. Gonna leave that one alone. Stumpy, meanwhile, might be helpful.
You almost have to feel bad. He turns into a tree after you get this item from him. So he steals $5, he turns into a tree.
We haven't seen Hype Cave yet. We should be seeing that in just a moment here. So, do you want to try and give a preemptive Hype Cave rating?
We already saw it in the Light World with Mini Moldarm, didn't we? Anyway, yeah, here we are. As you just stated, we are about to come up, I believe, on Goomba's side. Actually, hold on. Let's see where he goes. He is going towards it, I think. So yes, we are coming up on the Cave of Disappointment. The reason we call it the Cave of Disappointment is there's usually 5 very disappointing items here. Some people call it Hype Cave, but Cave of Disappointment, just in my opinion, is a better name for it. So let's see what starts off our cave here today. We have 50 rupees.
I'm going to say one good item in here. We'll see.
And there's the 20. There's a bottle. There is a heart container. And there is the Bombos medallion. We had a really good Cave of Disappointment going, but unfortunately that Bombos medallion had to ruin it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. What about you?
I don't know. See, because Bombos could actually be a required item depending on where that fire rod is. So for Cave of Disappointment, that Bombo's kind of a double-edged sword, because we do have access to Mire now, which we don't want, but we also have access to Ice Palace, which wouldn't be bad. And since Goomba's heading over there, I'm going to say, at least from Goomba's perspective, Cave of Disappointment wasn't really all that disappointing. I'll go ahead and give it a 4 out of 10.
Someone in chat referring to the as Hype Cave rating -2 out of 10, as in they did not want to see that. So that could be a very, very disappointing result right there.
That is fair. Meanwhile, both of our runners really showing off some wonderful knowledge on these portals here. I don't know where half of these darn things go, and they're just using them real quick. I'm going to go see Catfish. Boom. Flip her across the universe, right at his back door.
So since it's being mentioned, chat, I'll go ahead and I'll provide that context I was referring to. Bombos and Fire Rod are the two ways that you can access Ice Palace. Now that we have Bombos, that Fire Rod can be locked in Ice Palace, and we can't get to Skull Woods, or at least finish Skull Woods, without the Fire Rod. Runners tend to want to do Ice Palace in Go mode. Now that we have the Bombos, it may be necessary to go and do Ice Palace to possibly get a Fire Rod. And that is why that is a very unfortunate item to find before finding the Fire Rod. Even though they do have Turtle Rock access now, or no, Misery Mire access, it also means it can be Misery Mire now.
That is a good point. Meanwhile, I don't think we have seen any of Skull Woods from either of our runners. The Schwarz did finally go ahead and pick up their gloves from Sick Kid, so that didn't end up being a forgotten check, which is nice. We don't want that.
That's a relief. So I'm impressed the Sick Kid could hold on to that thing. So Goomba's going to do the graveyard ledge check. Schwarz is probably going to do Thieves Town at this point, so they are kind of covering each other's ground at this point. This might be a good time to just remind you at the 45-minute point of the race, go ahead and follow these runners. They are putting on a good race and a good series here, second race of this series, and I'm sure they would appreciate your support.
Yep, these guys not only being good enough to get into the tournament, but also willing to put on a show for us, which is absolutely wonderful, because without them, I'd just be sitting here talking to myself, which isn't nearly as much fun.
Yeah, pretty much same here. We'd basically be yakking. So Goomba heading over to the Catfish area now. Nope, maybe not. He's going south. Take that back.
Yeah, I already did Catfish, so kind of doing a reverse of what normally goes on here. Looks like we're probably going to do a pyramid check and then might do the double pod eastern just from the north instead.
Well, at some point he has to find the hammer, and he's running out of places the hammer could be, I think. So it makes sense that even though now Misery Mire, as we said, opens up, I think I'm trying to remember if you need the hammer in some way in there. I don't think you do though. And Ice Palace, but he does not want to look at Ice Palace for the hammer. So that is. He's not going to either of those places yet. He is going to check Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness before going to those kind of places.
I thought Goomba did everything in here. Did Goomba not do Dark Cross?
No, he didn't. I did not see him do that. And I don't remember if I saw him do the back of Escape, but Dark Cross he definitely did not do.
They both did the back of Escape. We also don't know what item was in Dark Cross. Presumably nothing useful, but I Am the Schwarz didn't have the lamp, and I don't believe the item showed up.
Well, we'll know in about 10 seconds. Or less, or more. We're being told it was a shield. That's where the shield showed up.
That makes sense, because we've checked everything else early. So,
yeah, it is. And Schwarz coming up on the Sunshine Room, so he will blow a hole in the floor here. And that will open the path for him to fight the gorgeous maiden who turns into a horrible monster.
Interestingly enough, we are going to get a Mire entry. That is unexpected.
That is interesting. Well, that you made me a liar.
Yeah, so with the Mire check, we are looking at not a green pendant, so not going to get an extra item out of that. We only have 2 items in here. So we'll see. This play could very well win the race if there's something incredibly useful in here, because this, even with the other pendants, this would be one of the last that you'd want to go into, given its very low item density.
I think the only reason he's going over here now is because he doesn't have the hammer yet. He does not want to go to Palace of Darkness without the hammer. So he is trying, just like he tried to avoid Kakariko for a while intentionally, he's probably trying to avoid the Palace of Darkness area at this time.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but that Palace of Darkness doing that is not going to help you. And there is an item here in the big chest of Thieves Town, but just a fairy in a bottle. So other than it being a point of isolation for Goomba, not going to be a big deal missing that item check.
It will if he runs out of hearts, but we won't talk about that just yet. There's a key on the bridge that actually ends. Schwarz is going to get his information about Christmas gifts.
Just a map on Goomba's side here, so Mire still being ornery.
So I'm going to be curious to see where Schwarz goes from here, because he's up to 3 crystals now. He is in a crystal lead, and he does have the hammer. The thing that he is missing, I see he's missing the powder, but he's also missing the 2 coins. He doesn't have either the bombos or Quake medallions to get to either of the medallion dungeons. So I'm curious what his next play will be. I'm starting to lean towards Ice Palace. He may also opt to make the dip into Swamp instead, looking for items.
Yeah, either of those would be interesting plays. Ice Palace, he's going to have to wait on until he finds that Bombos medallion.
That is true. He would need that. So yeah, he might go to Desert Palace at this point.
Definitely wouldn't be a bad call. Not going to get anything useful out of Desert, as it is very early boots locked, but worth a check. Meanwhile, we get the super long cutscene from Goomba as a wall that we cannot see is slowly being pulled back.
And it's done by torches being lit. You may commence questioning Nintendo logic at this time.
I mean, I'd make some comment about torture, but I can't quite get the pun to fit, so I might have to hold on to that when I come back at a later date.
All right, then. And Goomba looks like he is making his way through the bowels of Misery Mire, and he's coming back to one of the earlier rooms, so it looks like he's going to head down and around to... Looks like he hasn't opened this chest yet. And there's the big key he needs to get to the back of Misery Mire. I did not see if he found both items yet.
I don't believe he's found either. May have seen one, but so far just small keys and a map and a big key, so Mire not being quick for us today.
Yep, so much for the God Mire today, even though we're not exploring it that way anyway. So this should be most likely an item over here in the big chest. I'm going to guess here. Yep, that's a set of bombs. And let's see what's in the last chest. Oh, maybe we're not going to see what's in the last chest. And he's going to realize that he just put himself in a bad spot, so he's going to mirror.
No, chat saying that he already did find one item, so that would have been the second item. So not going for a ped play today.
Yeah, he is definitely not going for the ped play, and he just took a death.
I think that was intentional. He just kind of walked up to the murder dactyl, didn't swing a sword or anything, so I'm assuming that was intentional.
You don't see the overworld death warp very often. That is a very curious strategy.
Yep, meanwhile, with those mitts now, we are going to get a full Dark World mountain check from Goomba, which actually will include him grabbing Quake and seeing that Turtle Rock is Quake. So we might end up having a non-rod dip of Turtle Rock.
Or as I like to call it, being led down the rabbit hole. We'll see how far we end up in today.
I mean, if you get the fire rod in here, is that really being led down the rabbit hole?
That's when it changes to, wait, I was supposed to do this?
Pretty much, but that would be unfortunate in some ways because we know he's not going to get the ice rod there.
That would be very unfortunate because he would not be able to complete it. So it is still a rabbit hole.
Oh, that's right. Chat pointing out that I'm being silly. No hammer, no TR.
That would be helpful. So I'm the Schwarz taking our 4 out of 5 Cave of Disappointment. Going to get his useful. Bombo's at the back.
Well, until we find that fire rod, we've got to call it something.
And there's our ether.
Yep, that one definitely not going to be of much use this go around, especially in terms of progression, so
But,
ether not getting much love.
But let's be fair, it completes a very, very snazzy coin collection, and when this adventure's done, he can sell that.
Meanwhile, we see another overworld death warp.
The overworld death warp getting put to good use today. That's not something I see all the time.
Uh-oh. Where are you going?
I'm going to echo this uh-oh.
Forgot he had a portal there.
That makes sense.
Oh, that's why he was doing Dark World Death Warp, so he could leave the portal there. So I'm almost positive at this point we're going to get an Eastern pod.
Yep, I didn't even consider that he had a portal there. Yeah, he's going to Palace of Darkness right now.
All right, well, in that case, that play was insane.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because he left that portal there for, I don't know, at least 10, 15 minutes.
For a while, yeah.
Left it long enough that I forgot he had it.
I didn't even realize he left one there.
I saw that he left one there, but then I didn't think about it, and with all the checks he was doing, and then we were so confused about him going into Mire, and then the Death Warp afterwards, and then Dark Death Mountain and the Death Warp afterwards, that I didn't even think about it. It was so far away from my head.
Well, it works out because it put him right next to it, just like you would at the start of a dungeon, so it worked out for him.
Yep, hopefully he will choose to go into Eastern, which, I mean, I would be kind of surprised to see him not do Eastern after running through pretty much all of Pod and not finding the hammer here.
Oh, no, you at this point, at 56 minutes, if you don't have the hammer, you're not coming over here and leaving one of those dungeons behind. You're doing both of them.
Meanwhile, we are going to get to see if that Bombos medallion will pay off from our Hype Cave / Cave of Disappointment.
Well, we will know in about 4 minutes or so once we see all the items in here. We're about to open the first chest in this room in about 10 seconds. We're just going to kill these lovely pen gators. Taking a little longer than expected. And he will now open the chest, and that is a shovel. Could you dig that, Hammer?
I don't know if I could dig it since I don't currently possess it, but I'm pretty sure that Schwarz can dig it, or at least will tolerate it for the time being. And we're still looking for those boots, speaking of items that are kind of on the loose here. Meanwhile,
Hey.
Goomba grabbing the ice rod.
Yep, he at least knows where the cold one was. Now just find the hot rod.
I'm not touching that one.
Your choice.
I mean, he already has transportation.
Of a different form.
Alright, so I am the Schwarz is gonna go ahead and do a bomb jump here, which is much more difficult than these runners generally make it look.
Comment in chat, Fire Rod can be on Ped. That is correct. Fire Rod is not required for Swamp Palace. It's not required for Eastern Palace. It is not required for Misery Mire. It can be on the pedestal.
Maybe
wouldn't
those.
I was just gonna say, wouldn't it be ironic since they last locationed it in their first race, and that fire rod comes to haunt them again?
I was more thinking it would be ironic having to blind pull the ped when you have 3 books in your friggin' seed hash.
That's what I mean by the fire rod being on the pedestal. It'd just be almost perfectly horrible.
I was gonna say, I don't think either of our runners would agree with you with saying it's perfect. I really don't think you have.
Perfectly horrible.
I don't even know that you'd get an agreement on that one. It would lead to a fun set of interviews.
Goomba just made a mistake on the collapsing bridge, had the Mire out, went to use a bomb, and mirrored to the entrance instead. He's going to lose a little time here.
Oh man, that menu is a cruel mistress. You know, I'm thinking right now at about an hour in with no hammer, Goomba might be slightly tilted.
You could be right.
I mean, makes the play into Mire, nothing. Makes the climb up Dark Death Mountain, nothing. And now is just heading back here, almost done with Pod, and still no hammer.
No, he'll find the next dungeon he goes to for sure. Meanwhile, for those joining us late, let's just review where we are here an hour into the seed. This is game number 2 of between Goomba and iamtheschwarz in the Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 main tournament. Goomba won game number 1. In game number 1, both runners last location the fire rod, but Goomba did end up coming first and ended up pulling out the win. And here in game number 2, we are playing an assured sword setup. So they actually started with a sword, meaning that they have better weaponry. It would only be a fighter sword right now if they didn't have that. So that'd be even worse. But it turns out the fire rod is eluding them again in this seed, and that could very well once again be the item that ends up deciding how the seed goes. I am Cyclone, joined by Hammerbro. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you're enjoying the race so far.
Yeah, I have a feeling that in general we're enjoying this race more than the runners currently are. No boot, which, you know, we know is required for Desert Palace. No fire rod. And then we had 3 books on the hash, which just kind of makes everyone a little nervous.
Yeah, and that 3 books on the hash is starting to eat on my mind a little bit, and I'm not even playing it. So Schwartz has done an Ice Palace.
I mean, we don't really have a whole lot left. If we're being full-on honest here, we've checked most of our locations.
Well, here's the good news. Fire Rod was not in Ice Palace.
That is fair. Looks like we are, well, Fire Rod might be in Ice Palace with a little asterisk. We'll see what the shovel turns up.
Yeah, that's true. It could be the shovel, and we're going to find that information right now. If that is the Fire Rod, oh boy.
Well, if that's the Fire Rod, then you owe what you have called the Cave of Disappointment an apology. But, yep, nope. Alright, no apology required.
Hey, I just call it the Cave of Disappointment now. That's my new thing.
Alright, so we are going to get another Dark Death Mountain check here from iamtheschwarz. Gonna pick up Quake. Also gonna be able to go into Turtle Rock, actually for real this time. So, could be an interesting play here.
There's a comment this could be a play on Spike Cave.
That's a fair point, too.
We're about to... I'm going to run for a second. We're about to find Goomba's hammer, I believe. There it is.
And Goomba headed straight out. You know, given that that was a first sphere check, probably not feeling great about having an hour and 3-minute hammer.
No, he's not feeling good at this point. And look at the trackers at the bottom. iamtheschwarz is way ahead on the crystal count right now. So he is in at this point. No, we don't want to call a lead until we find all the items, obviously, and we know where they're going. But At this point, he does have a significant advantage based on how much he has completed so far.
Yeah, at this point, we're basically looking for 2 items. We're looking for the boots, and we're looking for the fire rod. Obviously, we don't really know who's ahead or behind until we find those items, because based upon what our runners have left and what they may or may not check, Goomba could very easily get right back into this.
Exactly. It's and even in races where routes diverge because there's so many options early, they can still converge on an Agham's Tower at the exact same time, and it can still be a really close race. So it's hard to say who's ahead, who's behind at this point.
Yep, because all that's really required is iamtheschwarz going into Mire, and then maybe heading into Swamp. And if neither of those have anything, and let's say it's sitting on Turtle Rock, or even vice versa, we could have Goomba really, really quickly back into this race.
There's a discussion about Fire Rod on Magic Bat. We already saw Magic Bat today, I believe. He was cursed us with by supposedly taking some of our health, but just gave us a piece of heart.
Yep, just a quarter heart, so not what we were looking for this go-around.
I'm sorry, the item you're looking for is in another check.
I feel like that's what most of Randomizer is, to be perfectly honest with you.
It is.
216 locations. You need, like, I don't know, 50 of them, maybe?
Give or take. And Schwartz is finding Quake on Turtle Rock, and they're mirror over and open it up. And get hit by a dead rock.
Hit, yes, but not stopped. Meanwhile, I would like to talk about the fact that without our Assured Sword, we would still have both runners on Fighter Sword. What is this?
Yeah, I mentioned that a few minutes ago, actually. This is not a very friendly sword layout, but it does show that there was no way you were going through Aghanim with that because you don't have the cape yet either.
Yeah, so at this point, all we really have unchecked between both of our runners is Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock. We have various other checks that haven't been done, but a lot of those can't be done, like our boots checks and the like.
Do you remember the comment in chat that the Fire Rod could be on the pedestal?
Yes, it could.
The Fire Rod was last locationed on the left side of Swamp Palace by both runners yesterday, and Swamp Palace is a pendant today. Why do I have a feeling we're going to have that Fire Rod on pedestal? We have to go into Swamp and full clear it looking for the Fire Rod to go get the pedestal.
Hey, speaking of, Turtle Rock was very quickly Fire Rod locked, so thankfully Schwarz not going down much of a rabbit hole.
Not even a rabbit hole at this point.
No, it's more just a quick burrow. You stick your head and go, oh, alright, nothing in here. We are going to get a Spike Cave check, that fairy coming in clutch.
At this point, whoever comes up with Fire Rod is probably going to have a huge advantage, but we have to remember the boots are still needed as well. I think we confirmed that Desert Palace was boots locked.
It is, but on the flip side, the boot's only locking 1 dungeon, whereas that Fire Rod is locking 2 more, so I would prefer to see the Fire Rod, because then we could literally just go into Back of Skull Woods, get that done, Turtle Rock, get that done, and then hope that we just find the boots along the way at that point.
Schwartz heading up to, I think he's going to go check Turtle Rock now. That's just my guess. Or did
Turtle Rock was Fire Rod locked, did 1 check here, and then was out because didn't have a key.
I thought it was Goomba. So I thought you said it was Goomba that did that. So Schwartz did that. Okay.
And it looks like we are going to get some more information on Schwarz's side. Might end up seeing a Mire dip from him as well.
We could at this point. He's running out of places to check too, and I guarantee you, after knowing how they didn't like doing Swamp Palace last night, they probably don't want to do Swamp Palace again. They're probably both thinking, it can't burn me twice, can it?
You know, saying that Swamp Palace can't burn you is really an interesting word choice if, in fact, the Fire Rod is sitting in Swamp. Just want to point that out. Don't know if it was intentional or not, but either way, that could end up being true in more than one way.
Yeah, this series could be brought to you by Burning swamps.
After a pun that bad, you might be the one fired.
I wasn't even an intended pun.
Yeah, but those are the best usually.
Yeah, they are.
Meanwhile, Goomba going through bombos-laden Ice Palace hoping for something useful. Unfortunately, not gonna get it. And I'm the Schwarz hoping for something useful in in desert. Instead, just gonna get a big key on the torch.
So he receives his information now.
So honestly, potentially I don't want to say the turning point for this race, but the part of this race that could definitely get Goomba directly back into it is whether or not Schwarz goes into Mire right now. Because if they do, that means that all the time that Goomba spent in Mire would not end up being wasted at all. And it looks like we are, in fact, going to get a Mire check. Which is crazy to be doing Mire before Swamp, but I guess some people just hate doing it.
Yeah, you don't want to go into Swamp Palace if you don't have to. But here's the thing, and this is why I like Swamp Palace. There's 6 items in there. There's a good chance there's something in there. It's better doing that than Misery Mire at this point, I would think.
Yeah, Mire seems like a really risky check, because even though it's potentially quick, even if it's quick, you're only getting 2 items. Swamp guarantees you 6. We can full clear it, even if that sounds terrible.
At this point,
Sorry. Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
At this point, because we are looking for literally 1 item, yeah, there are boots too, but at this point, literally 1 item for a lot of the progress we need to make, and the boots could be behind that. We're looking for that 1 real item there. The pedestal at this point has to start cropping in their minds. They don't have a book to check the pedestal. At what point do they choose to just complete a pendant dungeon and gamble on pulling the pedestal?
Well, we could see Schwarz do that here. I think Goomba would be less likely to, because you really don't want to double dip Mire, and that's exactly what would have to happen here. Honestly, with Swamp just sitting right there, I wouldn't think that either of our runners, given that they've chosen to do Mire first, would go clear Mire with 6 items just chilling out there, free to be checked at any point.
And that's why I think they should be doing That's why I think they should be doing Swamp Palace first, because if you're starting to think about the pedestal as a possibility, you're thinking you have to clear Swamp Palace anyway. And you know what? There's 6 items there. If you want to rule out the pedestal, that's the best place to rule out the pedestal, because you're going to get the most checks there to potentially rule out the pedestal. And that's just why I like Swamp Palace in this situation.
Yeah, but, there's a reason that these guys are running it, and we're sitting here talking about it, so we'll see. It looks like we are going to get a swamp check from Goomba.
And this had to be coming sooner or later, because we are running out of places to go here.
Yeah, and at this point, both of our runners are sitting at 4 crystals. So
same one.
Yeah, that crystal lead that I Am the Schwarz had basically dissipated at this point. Schwarz did clear Eastern, whereas Goomba did not. But unless we're pulling the pedestal, that's not going to matter.
Now, if Schwarz goes to complete this dungeon, he will have 2 of the pendants required to pull the pedestal. So if he goes to clear this, that tells you he's thinking of the pedestal when he goes into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that's a fair point. At least seriously considering it, whereas Goomba has been very, very positively ignoring it. I Am the Schwarz, though, did pick up their first item there. I don't believe they got the second item yet, so because they did not do either of the never mind, maybe they did. I don't think so.
No, it was in the big chest. It was bombs in the big chest.
Well, right, but did they do either of the fire rod locked or the fire locked locations?
Oh, maybe he did find both. I didn't think he did, but maybe he did find both items already. He is going for the pendant. Look at this.
Alrighty, so this could be really interesting here. This is a really risky play for I Am the Schwarz.
But at this point, 1 hour and 13 minutes in, with no idea where this fire rod could be and everything else checked, the pedestal is a viable guess. So there's not as much risk when you have very little left to go by. Swamp Palace is all that's left. He's going to rule it out along the way. And in that sense, again, this is why I say I would have done Swamp first in his case, because there are more items in Swamp. Then go and do Mr. Mire and then go to Pedestal. We'll see how that works out. We'll see what he does here. But he is definitely killing Viddy.
All right, so other than Swamp Palace, did both of our runners miss something between the two of them?
No,
just as kind of a conglomerate. Do we have any locations off the top of their head that they both missed? Because I can't think of any, but I calm this stuff rather than playing it for a reason.
I don't remember whether both runners checked all the items in Skullwoods, but I know they can't get to the back of Skullwoods. They might be planning to check that on the way to the pedestal as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I imagine if they get Fire Rod out of here, which is what would be required to go ahead and get the back of Skullwoods, I imagine that pedestal would take a back seat again.
It would. And then the book would, I should say the boots would hopefully be found somewhere else in that case, but the boots could be on the pedestal too.
Okay, so chat confirming my suspicion. They only got 2 items out of Ice Palace, so I'm fairly certain that Ice Tea Room had something.
Oh my.
The Thieves Town big chest, just to let chat know, that was a fairy in a bottle. iamtheschwarz had the hammer when they went into Thieves Town, so that was checked by one of them.
Well, Goomba is heading to the left side. He's not going to be burned, pun again not intended, by the left side again. He's going to get those 2 items out of the way. The hook shot will make it quick to check both at the same time as well. So he's going to push the blocks. He's going to cut up the stairs. He's going to go up the stairs to the north of him. And then he's going to drop down probably the hole on the left and start checking those 2 chests to see what is in them.
Yep, and this could be an interesting pull here. If Goomba doesn't get anything out of Swamp, probably going to feel really behind. And if iamtheschwarz... Oh boy. Well, we still have a couple items in the back, so it's not over even if there's nothing over here.
That was a compass. Yeah, the items are in the back. I think we saw the map already.
Yeah, we did. Didn't see the big key, though, I don't think.
No. So the big chest can't be opened yet, and that's exactly where the fire rod was last night.
Yeah, so we're looking at a situation where if Swamp comes up empty, iamtheschwarz is going to feel really good about clearing both of those pendant dungeons. And if it doesn't, if Fire Rod is in fact in here, iamtheschwarz is probably going to feel terrible about clearing both of those pendants.
He's probably going to want to throw up at that point, knowing that he spent the time on those on that Misery Mire dungeon especially. Eastern Palace he probably won't feel as bad, but Misery Mire for sure he would feel awful about.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Eastern not being a long clear at all. And given that you could get it pretty quickly with the bow sitting on Zora, and the lamp just kind of chilling out in Kakariko, not going to feel terrible about that clear, but Mire's definitely going to hurt.
2 items down here. Can we find our fire rod or our boots? We found a heart container. We found a cape. Oh, okay. Bumper Cave is in logic now.
I don't know that either runner has checked that, actually.
No, neither has, I don't think. Here's another chest. Red mail!
Okay, so can we talk about the fact that all these chests are freaking red, but not what we need?
It's just, every time I see it, hold on. That leaves us, Argus, who we're going to have to come to next, and we still have a big chest that we don't know anything about. So I don't think the big key is allowed to lock itself. If I'm right, then the big key has to be on Argus, and we're going to have to come back and open that chest.
So I know that I've seen, well, not seen specifically, but have had the big key be in the big chest before. I have not had it for this specific version.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it has happened. I don't know if it happens in this version or not, But I know that generally small keys can lock themselves. Like, it may be possible.
Meanwhile, I am the Schwarz skipping left side again.
We're being told that it can, by the way. And I'm surprised Schwarz is skipping left side after last night.
Very nice ice rod kill by Goomba. That was excellently executed. And we're going back in, guys.
We have to talk here. Last night, about an hour and 20, 30 minutes in, I forget the exact time, they found the fire rod to be in go mode, and it was in the big chest that Goomba is probably about to go back in and open. Yes, he's going back in. He's not wasting time on this. If he finds the fire rod in this chest, I want to know if he rages on this chest.
I mean, honestly, I'm just really happy that we don't have audio on either of our runners right now, because I feel like if that happens, there would not be a family-friendly response.
No, probably not. At least we can't hear their microphones, is what you're getting at.
Exactly. I feel like we would at least get an "Are you kidding me?" at the very least.
Let's see. This is the big chest right now. What is in the big chest? It's a herp piece!
All right, so at this point, we start double-checking stuff. We do have one item left in ice. There's one item sitting in Thieves Town that Goomba did not check.
No, hold on. Schwarz is not going to double-check stuff. He's going to go for the pedestal right now. He might go for the big key chest first. He might go for the left side, but then he's going straight to the pedestal. I don't think he's going to double-check ice right now.
That's a good point. Meanwhile, Goomba is going back into Thieves Town, I'm almost certain of. Might also do a check of the bumper cave, but I would not be surprised to see... Oh, that's right. They haven't done Skull Woods yet.
If it's been here the whole time, they're going to feel way behind.
Chat told me that I Am the Schwarz did go into Skull Woods.
Okay, did he check all the chests that were available in the front? I think might have seen him. I don't know if he checked everything, though.
I do not know either, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Argus being a pain.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be shot. Makes sense.
Fair point.
So there's 10 arrows. That is one of the items in Skullwoods. I Am the Schwarz now has all of the pendants. He will probably come check the big chest because he doesn't want to have to deal with Flood and the Dam again. He'll probably check the left side just to rule it out. But then I am going to wager, and I would put money on this if it was legal, that he's going to the pedestal.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. Meanwhile, our lovely tracker, Revolving Ocelot, who is keeping a much better eye on this seed than I am while I'm sitting here commentating, says that they did check all the available checks. We did get a second item there, so...
So yeah, we're down to Iced Tea and Pedestal, I think. Is there anything else?
Bumper Ledge, which we're going to check.
Oh yeah, right Bumper Ledge. I mentioned that. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Fire Rod and Boost are both at large. Hold on. We're getting right now. A full heart container. Go ahead.
All right, so at this point, things start to get really interesting because Goomba did leave the big chest in Thieves Town, and I Am the Schwarz did not go back and get the item in the basement of Hera.
Both we know are useless, but I think Schwarz will go to the pedestal before going to Hera now.
Oh, most definitely at this point, yes. With having completed all three of the pendants, I would be shocked to see them go anywhere. Well, okay, so they might do Bumper Ledge first, just because it's right there, but Bumper Ledge and Ped are going to be the next two checks in whichever order they end up being in.
Goomba is not doing pedestal yet because he's going in a different direction than either of the pendants he has yet to complete. He's checking Hera.
Goomba does not have to check Hera because Goomba did get it. Goomba's gonna go do Turtle Rock.
I got them mixed up. Yeah, I got it mixed up. He's going to Turtle Rock. That's right.
Thankfully, this check isn't going to take long because I believe there was a compass here in the first chest. Either way, it was not a key. They're not going to be able to progress past this very first chest.
At least assuming the fire rod is on the pedestal and not in the iced tea room, which would be the worst place for it to be right now, assuming that's on the pedestal, at least they won't feel so bad because they'll know that both of them have to do all the pendants, and they may not feel as behind as they otherwise would at that point.
At this point, if Goomba comes to the conclusion that it's on the pedestal, we might just... Yeah, that's not going to be good, because Goomba has been into all 3 pendants, and has only cleared one of them. So gonna feel terrible about that.
If he concludes it's there, he's gonna feel horrible.
Meanwhile, I mean, I imagine we would get an Eastern Palace clear before Mire, partially because both the items were found in Mire, and iamtheschwarz not going to the pedestal? Alright, never mind. Just a miscue on the duck.
Nope, he's going... Yeah, he's going to the village. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your pedestal hype in chat. We could also have a book on the pedestal, by the way. That could lead to either the fire rod or the boots. So we have 3 items, very interesting items that could be on the pedestal here, and all these items would be horrible. But one of them has to be there. Get your guesses in chat, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see a pedestal pull, and I think there's something here.
Yeah, the odds are fairly in our favor at this point. We do still have Ice-T that could have something. But yeah, by and large, odds are good that our triple book hash actually had a blind pull.
If we have a request, please be nothing. But let's see. We're about to see the pedestal.
Boots!
Yank it out, and we're finding the boots.
Booyah!
We are finding boots. So Desert Palace probably has either the book or the fire rod at this point.
Yeah, there's really nothing else it could have that would even be remotely useful. Although, honestly, the fire rod being in... Ooh, the fire rod being an Ice-T room would be terrible. So at this point, Goomba definitively behind.
Did we ever get Lumberjack check?
Yes, we did. Oh, maybe not. You know what?
Not from Schwartz. Not from Schwartz. I think Goomba might have, and I forgot what's there. That's a riot shield.
No, we did not get a check.
We did not see that. Yeah, I didn't see that.
No, we did not see that shield. Goomba, meanwhile, going back to Eastern, so we're probably going to get a clear here and then maybe a clear of Mire afterwards.
In the category of by the way, let's file this under BTW. The reason that Schwartz did that specifically is because there's our tempered sword. That's our second sword upgrade in the game. So the reason that he did the Lumberjack check immediately is because you cannot get to that area without the boots anyway. So as soon as he got the boots, he's like, oh no, I better make sure there's nothing there. And he made sure there was nothing there, and he moved on.
Yep, so meanwhile, we are still on the hunt for that fire rod. And that could be in either location in Desert. And could also be sitting in Ice-T. And that's really honestly about it at this point.
Schwartz is favoring the boots locations in the light world, and I'm okay with that. They're quicker checks than doing all of Desert Palace, but at the same time, Desert Palace has to be done anyway. I might have just gone Desert Palace at this point.
Yeah, that's not a bad call on your end, but I think at that point, when you pull something off the ped, I don't want to say that you get tilted, because that's kind of the wrong emotion, but I feel like it's most definitely overstimulation of emotion at that particular point. Like, when you pull something from the ped, it's like a, whoa! So I'm really not surprised to see them go for those boots locations really fast. And it's honestly a really quick 3 checks, so.
It is. At least getting the Lumberjack out of the way, because you know that's a 5-minute time save immediately, knowing there's nothing you need at Lumberjack. But as you said, they are quick checks, just a matter of runner preference. Knowing that you have to use Desert Palace first, you could do that. The argument then is you don't have to check the chest if you find the overworld. That's why Schwartz did the overworld first.
Yeah, that's fair, because with knowing that the big key's sitting there, he would just be able to skip all of this. So, yeah, actually, with that knowledge in mind, that's probably the better call.
Yeah.
And it looks like Goomba is headed towards the pedestal themselves.
Yeah,
this pendant.
He's finally resigned to the possibility that there's something at the pedestal. In fact, I think it's pretty much a certainty for him at this point.
Yeah, still sitting on that Thieves Town big chest. And hammer pegs too, I think. Because didn't have the hammer when they did the Smith chain, I don't believe.
And there was nothing at hammer pegs, I remember.
Well, yeah, there's not really a whole lot that could have anything at this point.
And he rules out Sahasrara. And that's the other reason why the Eastern Palace completion for the pendant, green pendant, was not a bad idea earlier, because it gave you the extra item, even not looking at the pedestal. So it was just the other two that you really had that really were the gamble in this case. And Schwarz was the one to make that play first, and it's working in his favor. He's in the lead right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And with Goomba heading straight back into Mire, definitely just going to go ahead and make that play. Not concerned about the couple of items that haven't been checked at this point. Just going, well, it's bed. Although the interesting part is, if Landmo doesn't drop the Fire Rod and it is in fact sitting in Ice Palace, that could be interesting mentally for iamtheschwarz.
It very well could be.
Oh boy.
I wasn't looking. What did I miss?
Well, that wasn't the Fire Rod, that's for darn sure. 3 bombs on Landmo. Alright, so at this point, if my memory serves correctly, iamtheschwarz does have Hera Basement, also has Ice Tea Room. I figure Ice Tea Room's probably going to get checked first, because I'm fairly certain it's quicker, all things considered.
He is on...
you know what? They also have the Pyramid Fairy, actually.
They do.
Oh, no, wait, because Skullwoods... No, Skullwoods is a 5/6.
Yeah, they can't do Pyramid Fairy. You're right. They can't do Pyramid Fairy.
But there's nothing else over here, I don't think.
Yeah, he may be going... Oh, no, he is checking the bomb shop. Did he not realize he doesn't... Or do we have it mismarked? He does have the big bomb. No, you're carrying too much. Now, but the big bomb is there. We have something mismarked. We have a... no, it is Desert Palace and Ice Palace.
Yeah.
Desert Palace, Ice Palace.
I
So we have 3 marked. That's the problem there. So yeah, it could be Pyramid Fairy. And this is one of my favorite locations. So it would be disgusting, though, to see it turn from a pedestal check to Pyramid Fairy for seed completion. That would be disgusting. And I'm being told that we are reading it wrong. It's not marked as a 5/6. It's just Mothula Sprite confusing us.
Yeah, I kind of came to that conclusion when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's just part of Mothula. So we have 2 checks here. Hera Basement, which we know isn't anything. And,
this could be it right here. Let's see. Power Container and Fire Rod! At 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 32 seconds, I think we can say iamtheschwarz is in go mode!
Yeah, probably feeling more like oh no mode at this point, all things considered.
What a seed that has been so far. Holy.
Alright, so where's the book?
It's gotta be in Ganon's Palace Tower at this point.
And we are going to get a boots pull on Goomba's side.
So I don't know if we're going to get to hear the music or not, but Goomba is about to go to the pedestal. And that will be the boots pull. He's going to complete Desert Palace, and let's see if he finds his way to Pyramid Fairy very quickly from there.
Yeah, this seed is not fully out of reach yet, because we still do have GT routing to consider. And man, I cannot wait to see our runner's item rate at this point. This is going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be huge at this point. Yeah, we got our music for the ped pull, so back to Schwarz, so we're going to follow him now. And he is 2 crystal dungeons away, and we still need 2 crystal dungeons at 1 hour and 33 minutes. That tells you what kind of seed this is.
Yeah, this might actually end up being over 2 hours, and that is just obscene.
I don't think we're going to be over 2 hours. Definitely an hour 50. I don't think we're going to reach 2 hours unless there's a mistake somewhere. But on the amount of health and equipment we have, there's not going to be a lot of mistakes at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll see. GT also is largely dependent on where we're going to end up there, because we could have like a time big key or something terrible there, and that's an extra about 5 minutes to sink in.
Yeah, I figure we'll be in GT by about an hour 40 at this point. Well, actually, even less than that, because Turtle Rock, we've already checked 1 item, so it's going to be a little bit slightly quicker for Turtle Rock. But yeah, we'll be in GT by an hour 40, if not sooner, I think. And then GT will be about 5-6 minutes, maybe, depending on where the big key is.
I think you're kind of overstating that. I wouldn't expect a GT entry until about 141 or 142. Turtle Rock is not quick.
My math might be a little off. We'll see.
You do have to climb that mountain, which is an automatic minute you can just take off the timer.
We can also potentially steal the key on the lava side, so we can lose some time, or get some time back not checking that chest. Well, time doesn't matter. Let's just worry about the fact we're going to Turtle Rock right now.
Yeah, at this point, let's worry about the fact that it's going to be... This seed has not been fun.
No, this seed has been one of those nightmares on in rando history.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, all we really needed was AGA 1, and we would have pretty much had everything handled.
Pretty much. Like, it would have made sense for the book to be at Lumberjack at this point and have to get the book to get the fire rod, but oh well.
Yeah, even with a 3-of-a-kind book hash there, the book mysterious by its absence.
Maybe that's why it was in the hash.
Since you're never actually going to see this in-game, we're going to give it to you now in triplicate.
So 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 30 seconds, iamtheschwarz enters Turtle Rock for the second time. He did dip this earlier for 1 item. He's going to go directly to the right and light the torches over there to obtain 2 items in the room to the north of that.
Yep, we know that one of them is definitely going to be a key, given that our first check did not have one, and Goomba going to go ahead and do those boots lock locations as well.
And was too slow for the hook shot. Going to take the next opportunity. I'll get off here. Thank you very much. And into the next room. So we're going to find 1 key. Is it going to be this first chest? Yes, this could also be a key. Nope, it's 20 rupees.
Yep, and unfortunately, Go Mode Turtle Rock not much faster than a non-Go Mode Turtle Rock in most circumstances.
Especially if you have to check the Lava Island chest, because we don't have our big key yet. We need to get a small key from Chompy to proceed. So Lava Island chest is in play. Unless the big key was already found in the first, but
It was 10. First chest was 10 arrows.
Okay, it was, yeah. So big key not found yet.
Meanwhile, Goomba gonna go ahead and do their Pyramid Fairy. Gonna finally be in Go Mode. This seed has not been friendly.
And yeah, this is probably... I can almost sense both runners at this point thinking, okay, why has this Fire Rod got our number?
Yeah, I can also sense urgency in both of the runners at this point. They both made enough routing mistakes that at this point, with those combined with this being a Pyramid Fairy seed, probably feeling slightly behind in both cases. Goomba more so, I'd be willing to bet.
And there's the big key, vanilla location.
Yeah, so far, this quote-unquote Go Mode Turtle Rock not being helpful at all.
Yeah, not really any different than a regular Turtle Rock. So Goomba now at 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 53 seconds is in Go Mode. And taking it out on the guards as he waits for the duck.
I don't even blame him. Like, this seed is
me neither. Yeah.
Thankfully, we will get to skip Mimic Cave, but that is about it.
Yeah, and there's the third key, so we needed that. And we're going to have to find one more, most likely on Laser Bridge, unless there's another one in the chest in the room north of this, which is the roller room. So if there is a chest up, or a key here, we can skip Laser... Actually, not that one, the next one. If there is a key here, we can skip Laser Bridge. Nope, silver arrows, we'll take it.
Yeah, that saves about 45 seconds, so that is not bad at all, but we're going to have to do Laser Bridge, which won't take 45 seconds, so overall, still a good time investment.
Yep, we will take that. And I can still sense that at this point, iamtheschwarz is thinking, even though we know he's ahead, he's probably looking at the SRL channel, thinking Goomba must have made these plays sooner, and he's looking for that dot done, thinking he's going to be going down. This is the upper bracket, so neither runner will be losing here when they if they lose this matchup in the end, with most likely game 3 at this point, because they are in the upper bracket. One of them will drop to the lower bracket in their pool to face Zyrak, I believe it is, who is the opponent waiting for them down there. So whoever loses this best of 3 will face another matchup and still have a chance to make the brackets. Whoever wins this matchup will advance automatically to the brackets and will be able to take a break before brackets begin.
But it does look like, especially for this particular matchup, we are going to get some more rando, as iamtheschwarz has a rather commanding lead at this point. Little over a full Turtle Rock ahead. And chat pointing out, with the second bow sitting on our lovely, lovely helpful Laser Bridge, that first bow was completely required.
It wasn't Laser Bridge, it was the roller room.
That's right, good call.
But that's absolutely right. The first bow was 100% required.
Alrighty, so with 7 crystals grabbed at this terribly late part of the seed, we have a dead bot, but we still have a game to play. There are 22 locations that GT Big Key could be sitting at, so get your guesses in chat, ranging from 1 to 22. No zeros, no negatives, no decimals or fractions, unfortunately. It cannot be in a fraction of a chest. So, get your guesses in chat, and we'll see who ends up winning. Cyclone, I know what your guess is, but I'm going to ask anyways. What's your guess?
0.5. Wait, that's not an option?
Well, you usually go with 0.5 of 22, so I'm not really surprised.
Okay, I'll do that.
Alrighty, Cyclone with a guess of 11. That's not bad.
Always.
I want to see a darn near 2-hour seed, so I'm going to go... I'm actually going to be nice and say Hope Room. Let's just get this done with.
That's not a 2-hour seed, though.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't have the heart to say Tile Room.
With this seed being the way it is, I would not be shocked to see it in Tile Room.
I don't think anyone would be shocked to see it in Tile Room.
It would just be the perfect way to make this the worst seed they could have had at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. At this point, we're just waiting. Like, the only thing that makes us not fully terrible is the Aga 1 clear.
You mean the fact that we didn't have it?
Exactly, and iamtheschwarz going...
Really interesting.
Well, probably because they feel terribly behind at this point, I would guess.
Yeah.
So, we're going to see some interesting checks. We might actually see a Tile Room check right here.
No.
Nope, not feeling that far behind.
So we have to note that we did see the torch. It did have a heart container. So since we know that, we have 3 checks done as we head down here. This is a very unusual numbering system, but we're going to keep up with it as best we can here. As checks number 4 through 7, well, actually not quite yet. We're still 1 room away. But we're going to move a Kaya Samaria block over to this conveyor belt. We could use a bomb, but we're going to use Kaya Samaria. And we are through, and now checks 4 through 7 are in this room. Check number 4 is money. That's a unique 100 rupees. There's 50. There is a single green rupee, one of 2, and the other single green rupee. Both are in Ganon's tower.
All right, so that compass room play yielding us 152 rupees and nothing else useful. 7 checks done, and we are headed back to the left. iamtheschwarz probably not feeling good about their routing decisions at this particular point in time.
Welcome to Ganon's bank vault.
I mean, you'd think he'd have more than 152 rupees in there if that were the case.
I would think so.
Meanwhile, these hammer pegs not being friendly, we are going to go ahead and head into what they call the Dark Magician Room, so called because of a lovely strat made famous by one of our runners, Dark Magician. But this is going to be 8 through 11, so we have a key of the wrong size, the butter sword. Another.
I was about to say our number is back in order too. Our number is back in order, and we have 3 keys in this room.
That is a fair point, but so far we are through 11 and still nothing. So we're going to get our double firebar room next.
By the way, I don't know if you mentioned the gold sword there.
Well, the 3 keys kind of overshadowed it.
Yeah. But that means that the 4th sword upgrade, we will probably never know where it is because, again, they started with the sword, and there is one more somewhere in the pool, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we might see it if it's sitting here in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it could be in Bob's chest for all we know.
Exactly. We do have Rando Room coming up next, though. That's going to be our next big concentration of items.
But before we get to Rando Room, we have item number 13. We are beyond my 11 guess now, so I lose anyway. I'm used to it, that's fine.
It's okay, I guessed Hope Room. You're going to be closer than me, as Goomba picks up silvers.
That's 13. That is Burrito. Ganon left his lunch down here.
Alright, so Rando Room next, so-called because you do not see this room in the vanilla game if you're trying to get it done quickly. Just some bombs, arrows, and maybe rupees sitting in this room in the vanilla game. But here, we have 4 of our 22 potential GT big key chests, so you do see them on occasion.
Oh, we have arrows, bombs, and the big key!
There it is.
So that was item number 16 today, I believe. I think we counted the 13 at that point. So that was item number 16, and that's normally where my 11 ends up. So the writing did not work for me, but it is working for one of you in chat because we are going to have a winner in our Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. And I'm going to quickly scan to see if we had a 16. We did. JJo36, congratulations. You are the winner of the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. Hammer, what's the prize today?
So for the prize today, your wonderful prize is you get to see the rest of this amazing but, you know, honestly, terrible seed. We also have several other races that you'll get to partake in today, tomorrow, and for the next several months, to be fair. This is a heck of a tournament. We got a bunch of stuff going on. You also have the ability now to go to the Randomizer website and play Randomizer. So, congrats on your wonderful, terribly useful prize.
That's a lot of prizes.
It is.
I thought the prize was he doesn't have to play this scene.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like that might be a better prize.
Anyway, we are in the gauntlet right now on iamtheschwarz's side. It is full of enemies that are designed to make your life, well, a pain, because that's why they would call this the gauntlet. I mean, look at these BMOs. They take pot shots at you from a conveyor belt, and you have to dodge around them, and they are deadly accurate half the time. Zyzax and Ice in this room with another couple of BMOs. Goomba, by the way, getting his 7th crystal and is on his way to Ganon's Tower. And we're completing the final room of the main gauntlet, but the gauntlet ends with the Lamola's fight. We're going to get a ferry on the way over there.
Yep, and even with the silvers, this is going to be a really difficult one cycle because we did have that stupid short hop kind of ruined it. So basically the Landmo timer starts as soon as you walk into the prior room. So the fact that iamtheschwarz had a little difficulty grabbing that ferry is why 2 of those top Landmos were synced up.
I didn't realize that was how it worked.
Yep, that's why he was trying to get through that as quickly as he can, because if you can powder those really, really fast, then you can still end up getting the 1, 2, 3 jump out that you normally get if you just run through that bunny beam. Meanwhile, these 2 rooms are super friendly for that Cane of Samaria. Really easy to learn and super satisfying to do. So if you want to learn one silly rando or NMG trick, those 2 rooms I would suggest. Don't take more than maybe a couple of dozen tries to do, even if you're terrible at this game like I am. And once you get it, man, it is so satisfying.
Yeah, it's so satisfying to be able to do a room like that very quickly and just say, "Be gone!" to those magical beings.
Yep, meanwhile, we have just one more torch room here. This room was not fun when I first started playing. And, okay, do you have enough? Woo! That lamp technically goes. It was. That lamp technically goes slightly more than 1 block, so you can reach over it, but it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it's risky not getting that jar of magic, but at least if you do miss, you can just fall down and grab it anyway, so it works out. He almost missed it there. That would have been fatal if he missed that.
Oh yeah, that would have been unfortunate. And goodness gracious. Moldorm 2 not wanting anything to do with us there. That was not fun. Alright, so we do have more traditional routing from Goomba. So Goomba is going to save a little bit of time here over how I Am the Schwarz did it. Well, maybe I'll take that back, because that Stelphos was not friendly. Alrighty, so I Am the Schwarz heading into their Aghanim 2 fight, also known as Agonometry, if you can so be bothered to make silly puns.
Oh, I call it that now.
I think that's going to be a double. I don't think he got credit for all 3 of those. That one also...
He definitely got a double on that because it was a blue ball. And that's a single.
A single that he's very happy, you could tell by the happy slashes.
Yeah. Very, very happy to get that single at this point. And we're at the minute 50 points, or hour 50 points. So yeah, looks like our time average is showing to be a little less than 2 hours here by the time we finish.
Yep, meanwhile, Goomba grabs their big key and gonna be climbing up Death Mountain. Or climbing up Ganon's Tower, I should say. Almost definitely gonna be looking for that dot done.
Meanwhile, it's time for the Big Pig, and being the ham he is, he tends to have some really good sayings for us. So let's see what he wants to talk about today. He's going to discuss something about going to the show to feel the warmth. Never mind.
Space Cadet Glow.
Yeah.
Deciding to serenade us a little bit before trying to spear us with his lovely little trident there. Gold Sword honestly does make this fight fairly easy. You only end up having to do 6 slashes per phase here, and then obviously 4 slashes to get this through, and with silvers, this is going to be a fairly quick fight.
And the 4 doesn't change on the Temper Tantrum phase, but yeah, you're absolutely right. The first 2 phases literally, like having the Gold Sword literally melts Ganon at this point, so doesn't last very long at all to get to this phase. And given how much we had to check, yeah, you were bound to have us find those silver arrows, dude. Oh, no torch push, but it won't matter, and he almost fell in the pit. Oh, he went for the triple, but didn't get it, but this will still do it. He is finished. And finally, we get to bring this seed to an end for one of our runners, as I Am the Schwarz is going to cross the bridge, and this will tie the series at 1 apiece and force a game 3 if he can cross a 1x3 bridge. And naturally, he can do that. So the official SRL time, and they've been doing a lot of talking in the channel, as Goomba's obviously going to be finished soon as well. You win! The official SRL time is 1 hour 52 minutes and 19 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for him.
Honestly, at this point, you might as well give him a 3rd G, because that was just about a game and a half.
Yeah, this time the 3rd G is probably well-deserved. So I did find out, by the way, that he will not be joining us, unfortunately. So I did ask during one of the interim there if there were any thoughts that he wanted to. Let me actually get my SRL page working here. if there are any thoughts that he wanted us to share on his behalf. And his reply was, not sure you want my true thoughts on this.
We do have a nice little clip here that our lovely tracker Revolving Ocelot gave us. And this is basically how that conversation went. iamtheschwarz started out with a, who's rolling these seeds, lol, you're banned. And Goomba agreed by saying, no more seeds, ALTTPR is canceled. So I think they've both, just about had enough of this. So let's hope for, regardless of what changes are not made to this third seed that they're going to be having, let's hope they get Fire Rod early.
Yeah, at this point, the Fire Rod needs to be on Uncle. I would not be surprised to see Goomba say, okay, let's make a standard mode, and maybe we'll get the Fire Rod from Uncle.
Yeah, they'll just get 10 bombs, and the Fire Rod will be on the pedestal, because we haven't had that troll yet.
Yeah, that's bound to happen.
Arrow Sling for sale. Oh boy, and Moldorm 2 being a Troll Dorm 2.
Yeah, this series is brought to you by the Hot Rod. It's going to take you a while to find it.
Yeah, seriously, this seed was not fun. And between the Fire Rod and the boots just kind of being terrible. Yeah, you couldn't even go fast while last locationing for everything.
And Goomba is not opening the chest. Who needs it?
Yeah, initially tried a hover there that didn't work out, and then Moldorm gave him a bonk for trying to be a jerk and hover past him, so that was take 3, but third time is the charm. We are going to get an agonometry fight here.
Agonometry. I think I got a C in that class.
Yeah, if you start making puns like agonometry, then, well, it's a bad sign. You know, that may have only been a single. They look like they all hit at about the same time. That was a double, though. Nope. Okay, so the first one was a double as well. All right, so nice 3 cycle from Goomba. We are going to see the Big Pig once again, and I cannot wait to see these collection rates because they are not going to be fun.
These collection rates are going to be absolutely unreal. That's the best way to put it.
So now that we have full knowledge of the seed, in actuality, we can officially call Bombos a waste of time. Wasn't needed because the Fire Rod was on the pedestal.
Yeah, the Cave of Disappointment was a 10 out of 10.
Yep, because we were sitting there holding out hope for Bombos, and yeah, we didn't actually technically need it.
Yeah, so I'm happy to know that came true again. So Ganon currently being melted by Goomba and is now angry about it.
I mean, honestly, look at that rupee count. 1,490 rupees. That is how much we have opened this seed.
Yeah, that's a substantial sum of money.
Yep, as we did both Dark World locations. That was really close to the edge there, bud. Woo-hoo.
Oh, wait a minute, we're being corrected. Bombos was needed for Mire to get the pendant. Thank you to our tracker for correcting us on this. Our minds have also melted because of this seed. So, yeah, we forgot that ourselves, and we did need the Bombos. So, yeah, the Cave of Disappointment did have one positive thing in it, unfortunately. Anyway, Goomba is now going to cross the line and is probably just relieved to be done this seed, to be completely honest with you. His official SRL time is 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 14 seconds. So still just barely under a 5-minute difference between the two runners on what was an absolutely atrocious seed. We're going to be keeping the stream up so we can try to get the statistics here for the runners. I just want to make sure we don't have another race coming up behind us here. So let's do a quick discussion here on what I'm reading in the chat right now. They were discussing when to have the next race. I don't know if it's officially scheduled yet. It probably will not be in there at least for a couple hours. But there is discussion between them of having the third game on Sunday. Game 3 is now required. There is discussion that it could be on Sunday. So keep an eye on the schedule. And we'll have to see if that Fire Rod eludes them for the third straight seed, or whether it's actually going to show up and give them something a little bit nicer for a change.
Alrighty, so if you guys, even after this horrendously long seed, have not gotten enough randomizer for the night, I do have some good news for you. We have a couple more coming up. We do have one starting. Never mind, both of those are tomorrow morning. I am fried. My brain is dead. All right, so ignore me.
Yeah, we have no more randomizer going today. And I actually just want to make one comment from Goomba. This was also in the SRL channel. I wanted to wait until he finished to put this out there. His comment on this seed. If you want a review of a seed, this is the most glowing review you can ask for. This was the worst seed of A Link to the Past I have ever played in my life, he says. So that tells you right there, if you are just joining us now and you are hearing me say that as his review of the seed, you know this was quite a seed that we just went through here on this race. And I will agree, that was one of the worst seeds I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's at the very least one of the worst. I have seen some seeds that are worse just in terms of either entrance rando or key sanity. But I think in terms of a straight up seed, especially being sword assured, yeah, this one ranks very, very high up there. It was terrible.
Yeah, sword assured, and it was still a bad seed. That tells you something. So I am taking a quick look at the schedule to see what else is going on Speed Gaming. It's actually a very light evening here on Speed Gaming, which is not something I'm used to. We do have the other race that is going on. In fact, let me get it in front of me and I'll tell you about it. The other race going on right now over on Speed Gaming. I think it's the Prime channel. Speed Gaming.
Yeah, we do. It's Lack Attack versus Megawatt.
Exactly.
We also have another race also going on Speed Gaming 2. That's McLagging versus Koi.
Yep, those are both going on right now.
Two options.
And then the only other race on the schedule, which is not currently set for broadcast, is BBB Kermit versus World J Bradley. You can follow those racers on their channels to see their halves of the race. We're not going to be broadcasting that one, it looks like. But those are the races that one starts at, that's at 10:20 this evening, 10:20 p.m. this evening. You'll be able to catch that on their channels. But that is it for the schedule for Link to the Past Randomizer today. Nothing else is going to be starting fresh at this time. Over here on the rest of Speed Gaming, the only other event on right now, and this is just getting started, is a Chrysalis Randomizer race between Gazangata and Tornell 357. That's on Speed Gaming 3. Other events that are going on here at Speed Gaming between this tournament and other events tomorrow. We have a Super Mario Brothers 1 any percent, the original Super Mario Brothers tournament. There's a Super Metroid Dash tournament. I think that's a new tournament. I don't think I've seen that one yet. There's the Mario Maker 2 Weekly, which is tomorrow morning at tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and some other events as well. Metroid Prime, Randomizer, and other things. So go to speedgaming.org/schedule for more information on that. It'll also give you a nice layout in a nice boxed format from the Google Calendar layout as to where every race being broadcast in this tournament is located. They will all show up on there. You can click on the races on each channel, see exactly who is racing on each channel. Nice way to see a nice laid out view of what is on every channel rather than looking at a single conglomerate list that we have at the other link, which will still give you all the races in the tournament.
Alrighty, so we have said it before. I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Give both of these runners a follow. They just lived through nearly 2 hours of randomizer purgatory for our amusement. So, they both deserve a follow. Give them a follow. Also, huge shout out to Revolving Ocelot, who not only was clicking the buttons, but also kept my butt straight at least 3 or 4 times during this seed, keeping track of where stuff was, what stuff was locked by what, and all sorts of stuff like that. So, that seed was terrible.
And in a race like this, having someone able to help keep us straight like that, especially at the end when we both forgot about the bombos being needed to get to the pedestal, having someone to keep us straight like that when our minds have literally melted is very, very useful. So definitely did a great job tonight, and thank you, Revolving Ocelot. Give him a follow. And also make sure you follow my co-commentator, HammerBro_34. He's done a lot of commentary in this tournament as well. He's a great guy, and I'm sure he would love to have some company on his side as well.
I do appreciate it. It is always a blast commenting with you. This was fun. This was one of the less fun seeds because I honestly don't prefer it when seeds are just completely terrible. I like, maybe a dash or two of troll in the seeds that I com, but this was beyond the pale. This was not kind. Even knowing it was a ped seed, it was still horrible.
Yeah, this was just, I don't even know if disgusting is the right word anymore. I really don't. This was, I'm trying to think of a better word.
Honestly, I feel like you just have to call this seed something like extraordinarily unfortunate.
That's a light way to put it. This was, well, actually, I got a better way to put it. This was a hot mess. Is that a good way to put it?
Since we literally couldn't find the fire rod, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
We'll take that. We're getting train wreck in chat as well. We're trying to kill time because we're waiting for the stats to come up on Goomba's side here. And obviously, if you're watching on YouTube and you don't want to hear us keep talking, feel free to skip to the next race. We're going to go ahead and wait for the stats, and then we're going to sign off here. So I want to remind everyone here and make sure to follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6 as well. You'll be able to find all the races in this tournament and all the other events I was talking about earlier on these channels, as well as a lot of other events. And with that said, there's not too much else for us to talk about. Any last thoughts before we wrap, Hammer?
Yeah, so one thing to keep in mind for these collection rates, they do not include the items that you see and don't pick up. So all those items we saw, all the ledges, all the islands, the torch item in GT, those aren't included. So that collection rate is fairly low and is probably at least sitting at, in terms of knowledge, 180 to 185 at a minimum, I would say, on Schwarz's side. So that 169 looks a lot friendlier than that seed actually was. Other than that, the only thing I really have to say is, may your seeds, once you play them, be friendlier than this was. Goomba does have a slightly lower collection rate, partially because of the GT routing that he did, and partially because there were a couple less checks that he made. But overall, yeah, those are not friendly collection rates at all.
I was going to say also cut out 11 checks in GT that were not open and cut out everything locked by the book as well, those two tablets. So that's at least 13 checks right there. I know we're not going to have in our total. But other than that, these are actually very benign collection rates considering how much we saw that was not picked up. Anyway, we have the stats now. Let's go ahead and call it a night. I want to thank you, chat, for watching. And if it wasn't for you, we'd just be talking to ourselves, which is what we've basically been doing. So thank you for watching, and have yourself a great evening. May not all your seeds be ped seeds. Hammer, after all this, you get the final word.
I don't even know. I'm sorry. That's all I got. I'm sorry.